If you've watched enough videos on this channel, time and time again, I've told you, don't shit the bed. What do you do if you actually made a mistake? Also known as you shit the bed. That's what we are going to get into in this video. Welcome to the channel Leadership with Mike. On this channel, I help new managers become better leaders, and I do that with no nonsense sense, if that makes any sense. Okay, like I said time and time again, I've told you, don't shit the bed, don't shit the bed, don't shit the bed. But here's the thing. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. You're a manager. You're still going to make mistakes. Let's first know that that's going to happen. Now, what this video is going to get into, though, is let's think, what are we going to do when it does? Here's the first thing. And this needs to be set up before you screw up. I'm hoping you've been fostering an environment of openness. Meaning, if your team kind of makes mistakes, I'm hoping you haven't been beating them over the head because they made a mistake. I'm hoping that you almost encourage mistakes, that it's open. People don't feel ashamed. Because if that's the environment that you fostered, your team is going to be a lot more lenient on you than if you've been the opposite. Secondly, be transparent. You screwed up. It happens. Don't try to hide it. Don't try and make it look less painful than it is. Be transparent. Let your team know this is what happened and this is the consequence. In the same breath, make sure you're calling it out on yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to... If you know that you've made a mistake, don't wait for somebody else to find it. That's even worse if you got your staff calling you out on something that you know is wrong. You know you screwed up. You know this was not a good day. Make sure you're the one calling it out. If you have to do it at a meeting, listen guys, this is what's happened. This is what we're working on. This is how I messed up. It's much better if you're the one owning up to it. And it's really going to build trust with your team. Even if it's going to hurt. Your pride, at least. Your pride's going to hurt. It's natural. Next thing is, don't minimize it. If it's a big deal, it's a big deal. Just because you made the mistake doesn't mean that it's not as big a deal as if Sally made the mistake. If it's something that you lost a client, you lost a sale, you cost the company big time bucks, don't try to downplay it. Because again, you're being judged, rightfully so, on how you're handling this situation. So allow it to be as big as it is, or as small. If it's a small thing, don't blow it into something that it's not, but just call a spade a spade. Next, you need to own it. Don't try to skirt it off like, well, I know I made this mistake, but if Sally, I don't even know a Sally, I don't know why I'm picking on Sally, but Sally gave me the documentation and I didn't proofread it, so, it's kind of big trouble. No, it's not. It's for you to own. It's not for you to deflect and, half own it, but kind of put it on somebody else like poor old Sally. Also, when you're talking to your team, what are the solutions? You need to put time before you've kind of acknowledged it or before you've brought it to, the public court of opinion. Have some answers on how you can fix it or what you need from your team to help you fix it. Remember, we are working on solutions. We don't just focus on the problem. We have to focus on the solution, which doesn't mean that problems don't happen. Just be that person. Be that leader that comes and listen, this sucks. Here's what I'm going to do to try to fix it. And then ask for feedback. Ask your team for help. They are more than willing. They will be more than happy to help you when you're down, especially if you acknowledge it and you're not too proud to accept the help. Next, I want to say this is a no-brainer, but sometimes it's not. You need to learn from your mistake. Why did it happen? What did you miss? Is there some fail-safes that you can set up? I was working at the airport I know, Mike, talking about the airport. Listen, that's where I was. And we had a problem in the system, the baggage system. So I was asked to send 100 passenger bags to a different area. Well, being new, I clickety clacked the wrong button. And I didn't realize that instead of sending them to this side of the airport, 100 bags disappeared to the opposite side. And nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what happened. Now, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know I clicked something, but it didn't seem to work. So I had to click it again. What I actually did was I clicked the wrong machine. And by clicking that, it disappears off the screen. So now I don't see it. So I clicked the proper one. At the end of the day, I needed to call the higher ups of the airport, and I chose to apologize. I had supervisors that were very kind and more than willing to help me cover it up, but that's not me. And I'm hoping that's not you. You will do so much better if you own up to it. And by making the call to the airport, by making the call to our stakeholders, in my opinion, that advanced my career and the respect and trust that I earned from them tenfold, without question. I also provided them what I had learned, why it happened. There was no excuses. I made a mistake, and I remember it. What I was doing to fix it. A colleague and I went and took those bags manually, all 100 of them, and delivered them to the proper area. And on top of that, I explained how I was going to not do that again. Because I had done it, and I knew that something changed on the screen, I didn't pick up on it. But now I know you better pick up on that change in the screen. Easy peasy. Now, before we get to the most important point, listen, let's be honest. I'm cranking out these videos. I'm doing 3 a week. If there's a question that I'm not answering for you, if there is something that you are missing, in the description, there's a link where you and I can have a half-hour coaching call. We can walk through basically any problem. 2 heads are better than 1. So if you're missing something, if there is something you just want clarification on, if there's something that you just want to bounce off of an impartial judge, hit the link below. You and I can chat. Okay, listen. This is the most important thing. And it's something that I find most people have the hardest time doing. You want to know what it is? Move on. Don't let this mistake drag you down. Don't let it ruin a great career. Some people get so hung up on all their mistakes that they forget of all the reasons they were put in the position. They forget about all the positive things that they bring to a work environment, to a relationship, to a friendship. You screwed up. You shit the bed. Okay. Wash your sheets. It's a new day. Let's move on in a positive manner. This is not the first time you've ever made a mistake. This is probably not the last time you're ever going to make a mistake. And you're definitely not going to be the only one to ever make a mistake. So the sooner you learn from it and then wash your hands and move on, the better it's going to be for you. I promise you. So if you made a mistake, go through this list and it's not going to sting quite as bad. After you've done that, get your coffee and meet me in the next video. Ciao.